Have you ever been hated so much that people would rather see you disappear than admit you were right? That was Zara's life. So when the river took Emeka, the village didn't look for courage. They looked for someone expendable. And sadly, Zara was the perfect choice. But they forgot one thing. Zara was not afraid of the truth.
If you sat by the river Owena at dawn and asked the fishermen who among them was the most blessed, they would point without hesitation to Emeka, son of Chike. Emeka had arms like mahogany branches, a laugh that startled herons from the reeds, and a net that never came up empty. The river loved him. Even on days when other fishermen returned with nothing but stories, Emeka's canoe rode low under the weight of his catch. But if you asked who was the most cursed woman in the fishing village of Obudu, every jaw would tighten and every eye would slide reluctantly toward the compound of old Mama Ngozi. Not toward Mama Ngozi herself, toward her daughter, Zara. Zara was not ugly, she was not evil, she was simply relentless. She questioned everything. She argued with the rain for coming during harvest. She argued with the village elder about land boundaries and produced a carved stick her grandfather had left as proof. And she was right, which was somehow more offensive than if she had been wrong. She argued with the market women, the medicine man, the town crier, and once, memorably, with a goat that she claimed had eaten her drying cloth with deliberate malice. That goat, she told its owner, Chief Daike's eldest wife, is a repeat offender. I have seen it looking at my compound. Chief Daike's wife reported this conversation to her husband. Chief Daike reported it to the Council of Elders. The Council of Elders agreed unanimously that Zara was a problem that had not yet found its disaster. Her mother, Mama Ngozi, spent most of her days in quiet suffering, pressing bitter kola nut between her teeth and whispering prayers that her daughter would marry quickly, move far, and become someone else's problem. The trouble that would change everything began on a Tuesday. Emeka had not returned from the river. He had gone out Monday at first light with two junior fishermen, Tobe and Chuks, who both came back Tuesday morning looking like men who had seen the inside of a grave. Tobe could barely speak. Chuks sat in the dust and put his face in his hands. Emeka, they said, had been taken, not by water, not by a crocodile, by Ijele Miri, the river spirit. The story tumbled out in broken pieces. Near the third bend where the Owena split into two tongues of dark water, a mist had risen from nowhere. Within the mist, something vast had moved beneath the surface. The canoe tilted. Emeka stood up, foolishly, heroically, to pull the net that had snagged on something unseen, and then the water simply took him. No splash, no struggle. He was there. And he was not. The net sank with him. The mist cleared. The river looked innocent as a child. Obudu wept. Emeka's mother tore her wrapper and sat in the street. His father, old Chike, went to the shrine of Ogwef, the village's priest, and pressed his forehead to the ground. Ogwef came out of his inner chamber looking grave. He carried his carved staff and his face was arranged in the expression priests use when they are about to say something expensive. The spirit has taken him, Ogwef declared, after consultation that involved a lot of chanting and the death of a white chicken. Ijele Miri is angry. She has been angry for 3 years, since the day a foolish man urinated upstream of her sacred grove. He paused for dramatic effect. Emeka was not the target. He was simply the finest thing on the river that day. The spirit collects what she finds beautiful. How do we get him back? Chike asked.
Ogreve's expression arranged itself into something resembling sorrow but smelling like opportunity. "There is a way," he said slowly. "At the night of the dark moon, a virgin girl of pure character must go to the third bend alone and present herself to the spirit as an exchange. If the spirit finds her worthy, she will release Emeka and take the girl instead." The village went very quiet. A sacrifice, a girl for a man. Chiki's wife collapsed.
In the days that followed, the village turned toward its girls the way a person turns toward their pockets when the bill arrives, with guilt and the desperate hope that someone else is carrying more. The young women of Obudu were suddenly all afflicted with mysterious ailments, headaches, leg pain, distant relatives who needed visiting. One girl's mother announced her daughter had developed a rash that made her fundamentally unsuitable for spirit contact. The elders held 3 meetings. On the 4th meeting, someone said carefully into the middle of the room, "What about Zara?" Silence. Then nodding. First one elder, then another. "She has no suitors," someone said. This was framed as a practical observation rather than an insult. "She argues with everyone. She is already tiresome to the living. Perhaps the spirit will return her too," someone added, and people hid their smiles. "Her character is difficult," said the eldest elder. "But her body is pure, her lineage is clean, and she is," he searched for the word, "available." They sent a delegation to Mama Ngozi's compound. Mama Ngozi heard them out. Then she went inside, closed the door, opened it again, and said simply, "She will decide for herself. I will not be the one to tell my daughter to walk to a river and vanish." They spoke to Zara directly. Zara listened to the whole story without interrupting, which was alarming everyone present because it was so unlike her. When they finished, she sat back and looked at the ceiling. "Let me understand this," she said. "Ogweve says a spirit took Emeka because she found him beautiful, and the solution is to send a girl to either replace him or be rejected and come back." "Yes," said Elder Okafor. "And Ogweve decided this from a chicken." "The process is ancient and I am not saying it is wrong," Zara said, holding up a finger. "I am saying I have questions. How many times has this been done before? What happened to the girls who went? Did they come back? Did the men they replaced come back? What is the actual record?" Elder Okafor opened his mouth. He closed it. He opened it again. "It is tradition," he said finally. "That," Zara said, "is not a record." She stood up. "I will go," she said. The elders exhaled. "Not because you decided I should go," she continued, and they all inhaled again, "because Emeka owes me 3 months' worth of fresh catfish that he has been promising since the rains, and I want my fish now. Leave my mother's compound."